How the Miami Heat managed to pry Norman Powell away from the LA Clippers for pennies on the dollar still has to be confusing for everyone in the front office. It was head-scratching when it happened, and that sentiment has only grown even more through the first week of the season. That's because Powell has continued to be one of the best and most efficient scorers in the league. For the Heat, Powell has been the team's leading scorer through his first 3 games played. He missed Wednesday night's game against the Charlotte Hornets due to soreness, but there's no question he's emerged as a season saver for the Heat with the absence of Tyler Herro. The fact that the Heat got Powell for 2 players who weren't in the Heat's rotation, Kyle Anderson and Kevin Love, is likely going to be remembered as the steal of the summer. The Clippers' decision still doesn't make sense. Sure, the Clippers made this move to save money, avoid giving Powell the payday that he's likely seeking after the season, and it quickly opened the door to sign Bradley Beal, who was recently bought out. But none of that looks great in retrospect. Especially the move for Beal, who has been a near disaster to begin the year for LA. And it's not even the fact that Beal's already battling a back injury. Even when he was in the lineup for the Clippers, he didn't offer much promise. In 2 games, Beal is averaging 6 points on 25% shooting from three-point range for LA. It's safe to say that LA would probably be benefiting significantly more if they had Powell instead of Beal, especially considering they probably could have gotten more in exchange for him at the NBA trade deadline. Instead, they decided to essentially give him away during the summer. But the Clippers' loss is the Heat's gain, and they are reaping those benefits. I suppose the Heat still need to sort out what the plan is for Powell moving forward, especially in the final year of his contract, but I can't imagine the front office didn't factor that in before they acquired him during the summer. There had to have been some sort of soft plan in place. Even if we don't know what that may be, the hope is that they have a general idea of how they're going to handle the next few months with Powell. Still, no matter what types of headaches or anxiety that may create for the front office, the Heat are willing to live with that with the impact that Powell has been making for the team so far this season. And it continues to make little sense why the Clippers were so quick to essentially give away Powell during the offseason. Miami Heat fans will always have a soft spot for Caleb Martin, but his recent fall from grace since moving on a couple of years ago has been difficult to watch. And if the first 4 games of this season are any indication, he could be about to hit rock bottom. The Heat don't beat the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals in 2023 without Martin, and they don't make the NBA Finals either. During that playoff run, Martin was an absolute star for Miami. In that ECF series, Martin averaged 19 points and 3 rebounds on 60% shooting from the field and blistering 49% shooting from three-point range. After that season, it appeared that Martin had found a home in Miami. However, 1 year later, Martin would elect to leave in free agency to sign with the Philadelphia 76ers. Interestingly enough, even though Martin would leave to sign with a rival, Heat fans were still grateful for Martin's time with the Heat. It's a move that, in some ways, ended up working out for both sides. Martin got the guaranteed money he was seeking, and the Heat, with all due respect, avoided another contractual disaster. Caleb Martin's downfall since leaving the Heat. Since leaving the Heat, Martin has not been the same player. But it may not be entirely his fault. While he's struggled, it's tough to suggest he's been put in an opportunity where he could be successful. After just 31 games with the Sixers, he was traded to the Dallas Mavericks at the 2025 NBA trade deadline. In the 14 games after the trade to the Mavs, Martin continually struggled with his overall offensive efficiency, shooting under 40% from the field and just 25% from three-point range. In his first 4 games this season, Martin is averaging 3 points in just 8 minutes per contest. Unless something drastically changes soon, it appears that Martin is going to be practically out of the rotation in Dallas. And in just his second year of his 4-year deal, it's going to naturally bring up more questions than answers about his future in the NBA. After how much it appeared he had gotten his career on track in Miami, it's admittedly difficult for Heat fans to see how Martin has fallen over the course of just 1 year with 2 teams. Knowing Martin's work ethic, it'd be foolish to say that he can't work his way back into the good graces of the Mavs and get his career pointed back in the right direction, but you can't help but wonder what if he had just re-signed with the Heat. The Miami Heat have started the season hot. After adding Norman Powell and with Jamie Jaquez taking another step forward, Miami looks deeper and more dynamic than it did last year. Through the first stretch of the season, no team has scored more points per game. Still, the ceiling feels lower than it used to. The Heat haven't had a true offensive superstar since Jimmy Butler's exit. Powell's addition has boosted the scoring, but neither Tyler Herro nor Bam Adebayo has proven to be a consistent number one option. That's where one trade pitch from Bleacher Report's Andy Bailey comes in. His dream target for Miami? Zion Williamson. Zion's fit in Miami's system. When healthy, Williamson is one of the league's most unstoppable interior scorers. A 6'6", 280-pound force who averaged 24.6 points, 7.2 rebounds, and 5.3 assists last season for the New Orleans Pelicans. The Heat currently rank first in points per game, 131.5. But that production comes by committee, not dominance. Zion changes that. He's gravity. He's contact. He's chaos. When Zion drives, defenses crumble. The whistle blows. The floor opens for everyone else. That kind of rim pressure could unlock a new layer for a team already lethal from deep. His power would complement Herro and Powell on the wings. It would let Adebayo create instead of carry. If Zion stays healthy, he fits everything Miami is built to be. A calculated gamble for Pat Riley and the Heat. Bailey called Williamson Miami's dream target. But it's a dream wrapped in risk. The New Orleans Pelicans are unlikely to move him anytime soon, especially after Zion showed up in noticeably better shape this offseason. Their new core is forming around Williamson, Trey Murphy III, and Jordan Poole. Rookie Jeremiah Fears has flashed potential, and DeJounte Murray is still to return. Unless something drastic happens, it's hard to imagine New Orleans walking away from Zion now. But Pat Riley has never been afraid of the deep end. After missing out on Damian Lillard 2 years ago, the Heat have been waiting for another shot at a star. If the Pelicans ever waver, Riley won't hesitate. He's the kind of player who could raise Miami's ceiling back to contender level. Is Zion Williamson the answer? The Heat don't just need another scorer. They need a star. Since Butler's exit, they've played hard, moved the ball, and stayed competitive. But effort only takes you so far. Zion could be the one to close that gap if his body holds up. Still, it's unlikely New Orleans entertains anything right now. They finally look like a team with direction and balance. Trading Zion would derail that progress. If the door ever cracks open, though, Miami will be ready. The Heat have a history of staying patient and striking when the right opportunity comes along.